The inevitable has happened. Michigan State, a 2 seed, starting in Cleveland in Auburn's region. Let's talk about that draw, baby.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing on Selection Sunday, which is still happening right now? So if we talk about the bracket and we miss a few teams, apologies. We just wanted to get on this as soon as we possibly could. Michigan State gets the 2 seed in the South region, which of course is Auburn's region, and they will get Bryant in the first round. The second round potential matchup, should Michigan State move past Bryant, a bit of a surprise here, I gotta say. The bracket matrix had Marquette largely as an 8 seed, and also New Mexico as a 9 seed, but it's not like it's this big end of world change right now. Let's talk about it from a Michigan State point of view, because overall, fine draw. How much can a 2 seed really complain? You know, we just recorded about 6 hours ago. We did a little primer for bracketology. We said that you could very well see Kansas as that 7 seed. You could see Gonzaga as that 7 seed, and that would have been a little hairier. That's not to say that Marquette's walkover, that New Mexico is a walkover, or heck, guys, even Bryant is a walkover. Because let's start with them right now. Bryant. Look at them go. Out of the American East. Now, they are both outside the top 150 in offense and defense adjusted efficiency, but that didn't stop them from having a great year in the American East. They finished 14-2, and guys, they really had a barnstorm end to the season, okay? They went 17-2 in the last 19 games, and both of those losses just within 6 points. So, like Michigan State, when they lose, it's not like they're getting blown out. Like, that is a very scrappy team, and it's also an athletic team. We're going to get more into it later in the week, but here's the long and short of it. This is a team that has some length, okay? There's not a lot of guys out there that are, 6'1", 6'2". Like, no, pretty much everyone. I'm just going to go down the Torvik list right now. 6'6", 6'6", 6'8", 6'6", 6'11", 6'7", 6'5", 6'7". You get the point. Some rangy athletes over there at Bryant. Should Michigan State win this game? Yeah, guys, it's a 2 versus 15. Of course they should. Is it a guarantee? Come on. Nothing in life is a guarantee, and unfortunately us Michigan State fans know that all too well for the catastrophe that happened about 9 years ago. But hey, you know what? Am I going to split hairs over, hey, which 15 seed would have liked? Not really. I mean, Omaha would have been a spicy team. Robert Morris was another 15 seed you could have got. They're 16-1 in their last 17 games. So, yeah, Bryant, manageable. Should beat them. If you do not, we got more things to worry about than like how the seeding went. Things went very catastrophic on Michigan State's end. Should this not go well? Now let's talk about this 7-10 matchup, I should say. Marquette, the Golden Eagles, who kind of had an end of their season. They went 3-4 to end the season. Losses to UConn, St. John's, and then St. John's again in their last 4 games. They did beat Xavier just by 2 points, though. So I don't even know if Xavier's in this field. That's how early we're recording after the seeding has dropped. But Marquette's an interesting team, and it is going to feel like 2 years ago, isn't it? Especially with Cam Jones, the senior, returning. So they are a very guard-oriented team. Of course, they do have a solid big man. You don't make the tournament without having at least something in the front court. Ben Gold is their big man, but it's going to be a big focus on guys like Cam Jones, Stevie Mitchell, Chase Ross. Not to put the cart in front of the horse, but this is what March Madness is for, counting your wins before they hatch. Let's say it is Michigan State Marquette in the second round. Again, we'll talk about it more should this matchup actually happen next Sunday. We'll talk about it on Saturday, but where's Michigan State's strength on the defense? It's with their guard play. Well, what does Marquette like to do? They like to manufacture offense via their guards. So it's not the worst draw in the entire world. But hey, let's talk about New Mexico here for a second too, because in the Mountain West, Little Pitino. That's right, Richard Pitino getting his way back into Big Ten country. This is actually going to be a rematch too of 6 years ago, should this happen, when his Golden Gophers played Michigan State in the second round during Michigan State's Final Four run. Now, they went 17-3 in the Mountain West. They did go 4-3 down the stretch. They lost to Boise State twice, San Diego State, so it's not like they lost to bad teams down the way, but again, it's like it's the Mountain West. Not to be completely disrespectful, just brush them off. I'm just like a truther when it comes to basketball played west of the Mississippi. I've been burned way too many times, putting Mountain West teams far into my bracket. So let's take a look at the rest of the South region. And guys, I'm going to be looking at my phone here because I was just taking pictures of the screen as it was getting dropped. The rest of the way, look, being in Auburn's region, it seemed inevitable, right? Now, let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying that, I'm so happy to be with the Auburn Tigers and sharing a region with National Player of the Year candidate Janai Broom. They have that 37-year-old guard who's incredible, too. That's a very good team. But unlike 3 weeks ago, and this is maybe the Irish heritage coming out in me, especially in St. Patrick's season, I'm going to use a very morbid word, but 3 weeks ago, when it looked like Michigan State was inevitably going to be sharing a region with Auburn, that felt like a death sentence, as they were just working teams through the SEC. Now, that's not to say that, they've crashed and burned completely at the end of the year. They've lost 3 of the last 4. All to 3 really good teams because it's the SEC, but it looks a little more manageable than it did beforehand. Just to go down the rest of this region right here, you got Louisville, which, solid first season under the new head coach against 9 Creighton. Okay, Ryan Kalkenbrenner. We'll see if they can make anything happen against Auburn. And then it gets interesting here. We could have a doomsday, lock yourself in a basement, turn off all the lights, and whatever happens, happens that night moment. Because 5-seed Michigan is also in this region. So should it be Michigan State versus Michigan in the Elite Eight? First of all, good luck talking to me ever again, no matter the outcome of that game. It's either I'm going to go to jail if Michigan State wins that game, or, I guess I'll just go to jail too if Michigan State loses that game. We're going to see what happens. But still, that's 4 games away. They have a spicy matchup with UC San Diego, and I can't go full hater right now, especially after they just won the Big Ten tournament, which, guys, by the way, let's all acknowledge, very impressive turnaround, especially with how bad Michigan ended their regular season. That's great work by Dusty May. No smarm there. But UC San Diego, sitting at 30-4, and guys, how many of those 30 wins were just blowout wins too? I mean, I'm not saying right now I'm predicting UC San Diego to win that game. That's a spicy game for Michigan, though. And if I could just go on a little tangent here, this is why the Big Ten tournament needs to be played on Saturday. Michigan wins the tournament, and not to go all white knight for Michigan. I'm actually very glad that, they didn't get the benefit of winning the tournament and having it reflected with their seeding. But, the game ends 30 minutes before the selection show. They're already locked into the 5 seed. Big Ten tournament needs to start having their championship game on Saturday, so it actually matters in the seeding the next day. Anyway, again, not upset to see it. But number 4, Texas A&M, they're a very... I was going to say hot and cold team. They're either very good or just kind of good. So that's a good Aggie team. And then Yale. And just to keep working it down, Ole Miss, they're going to play the winner of San Diego State, or a shocker in North Carolina making the tournament. And maybe that's naive of me to say, because right when their name showed up, I'm here. Brother-in-law looks at me. He's like, they got in on name alone. And I say, when we woke up this morning, FanDuel had them as I think the 4th bubble team as far as odds go to actually make the tournament. So again, we're recording during Selection Sunday. I don't know who they jumped over, but okay, good for North Carolina to make it. Iowa State as the 3 seed, should both teams make it to the Sweet 16, our Spartans and the Cyclones over there. TJ Otzelberger, I can't love that guy enough as a coach. Youth medium polos that he wears be damned. That man can coach a basketball team, and he does it well. That is football on the hardwood over in Ames, Iowa. So if Lipscomb can ace him out, great. Full Miss can do it. Just speaking of football on a basketball court, that's Chris Beard basketball right there. So that's going to be a scrappy second-round game if Iowa State and Ole Miss both make it to that round. So overall, are we happy? Yeah, look, if you listen to the recording that we had 6 hours ago when I said, hey, do I want to see a team, or what team do I want to see most? I'm a coward. I'm a wuss, guys. I could talk myself into being scared about any team that they've announced today, but all in all, you could think of a lot worse things than this. Could this all come to bite me in the second round if we get aced out by Marquette? Yes, certainly could, but I got to say, just on paper, before this tournament even starts, we were staring at, Gonzaga in the barrel. Mizzou, who people have mixed opinions on, they were going to be another 7 seed that a lot of people had us projected against. Marquette, New Mexico, fine. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about just final thoughts about Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. But first, need to talk everyone's ears off about Supply House. That is right, guys. Our friends over at Supply House, they have the supplies you need made from the site for the skilled trades. Of course, we're talking Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for that extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Guys, also WayFair. That's right. They got everything you need from home to storage, decor, whatever it is. You got to have it reflect your style. And with Wayfair, it's easier than ever to make that happen. Whether you're looking for a simple refresh or tackling a big home project, Wayfair is everything you need all in one place. Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find the perfect place, no matter your space or budget. From cozy furniture, stylish decor, kitchen essentials, outdoor must-haves, Wayfair has it all, and it is priced to fit your budget. Now, right now, got two boys. Our house is exploding every day with toys. We need storage solutions in our basement, solving those over with Wayfair. Head over to wayfair.com and find something that is just your style. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, guys. You know what? Speaking of basement there, just from the ad read, I am in my in-laws' basement right now. This isn't the normal studio if you're a new viewer or listener of this show. Going on upstairs, my wife's birthday dinner, but sorry, sweetie, it's Selection Sunday, so good luck with the kids. Anyway, we'll just try to right those wrongs when we get upstairs. Let's talk about the Big Ten tournament. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the game itself, guys. It happened more than 24 hours ago. I do wonder, though, if this is a sign of Michigan State chopping down their 10-man rotation into an 8-ish man rotation here. You look at Shimon Sapala, okay, 9 minutes. He just played 11 against Oregon. Is it a thing where he just is out there for the starting lineup, wins the tip, see him here and there? I don't know. It's interesting to see him phased out more so in the second half too. And Xavier Booker, let's have the conversation. And I hate having it because by all accounts, great kid. Have never heard a bad thing about him. Nothing about his work ethic at practice. You can't say the same about that, about players that have been here the last few years. No, I've only heard great things about Xavier Booker, the kid. It's where it gets uncomfortable because we've seen Xavier Booker, the basketball player, here late. And not to make a referendum out of his 4-minute stint that he gets from the under 12 timeout to the under 8 timeout in the last game and him dropping that wide open pass. But really, even that aside, what are we adding here? Other than just like one 3-point attempt, one missed box out, and then like solid defense here and there. Those are 4-minute stretches in a tournament, in a time of the year now where every stretch matters. I don't know if we could just throw that out there. I don't know if we could just do this fun little, all right, get your feet wet, make sure you break a sweat, and then we'll meet up in the locker room and you can put your sweats back on at halftime. No, I do wonder if Booker will be phased out completely in this tournament, especially as we get deeper, hopefully deeper in this tournament. Fiddler was interesting. He got like 9 minutes. I don't think he'll be phased out entirely. I think he offers too good of defense. He gets to the free throw line. So I think that was more of a one-off thing, but will he be logging 25 minutes in the tournament per game? No, I wouldn't suspect. Now, just because we're kind of just going through this game quick doesn't mean that there weren't concerns to take out of it. Like, I wasn't, thrilled with Holloman's whole tournament, really. But that's not to bury the kid or say that, oh, my God, he's so disappointing. The thing I want to focus on is that this is the fun with a guy like Trey Holloman. And I say the word fun very loosely. I do love Trey Holloman, one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player on this team. But it harkens back. You got to go 2 decades ago, right here in Detroit. Rasheed Wallace, what I mean by that is like the guy plays with fire, passion, brings the energy. We saw it against Iowa, saw it against Michigan, of course, on senior night, but we can't go into other teams' huddles, point your finger right in their face and say what I assume was magic words to get you teed up and then see your team eventually lose by 3 points. Again, there's a lot of give and take with the player that has energy like Trey Holloman. He's going to get your team fired up. But that's a razor-thin line that we're walking, and unfortunately took a step on the other side of that line. And his play wasn't that great, but it's nothing that I'm, concerned about long-term here. Now, Akins, he didn't play outstanding, especially on the offensive end of the ball against Wisconsin, but at this point, 4 years in, what else are you going to expect? It's very up and down with Jaden Akins. Hopefully he can find some heat here in the tournament. Stretched together 2, 4, 6 games, hopefully, of just good shooting, but that was a really tough game from him, especially from the free throw line. And Michigan State shot, 79% from the line, which is damn good. How many of those were misses on the front end of 1-and-1s, which luckily they did rebound. Let's talk about rebounding, actually, and let's talk about how we feel after the 2 games in the Big Ten tournament, because I went out to Twitter and I said, how do you feel about MSU basketball after their 2 Big Ten tournament games? The 4 options were actually better. Same, still good. Same, still iffy. And then worse. Guys, everyone said, not everyone, the majority said still good. Like, I'm still feeling fine. The same. Nothing changed after those 2 games at 71%. Second place, despite losing, said actually better at 17%. People were still iffy at about 7%, and people have said they're thinking worse about this team. We're at 3.6%. So not a lot of overreaction from that one loss. And I got to say, I'm going to join the 17% of people here, despite the loss. I'm actually feeling better about this run for Michigan State coming up than I did before those 2 games happened. Both those games were high-level basketball games. Like, I thought Oregon played really great. Michigan State played even better. I thought Wisconsin played really great. Michigan State, unfortunately, just came that short. But what happened for Michigan State to come that short? It took Holloman playing really bad. It took Akins playing really bad on offense. It took the bench not really having an extraordinary game or even a good game. I think Carson Cooper is really the only guy you can look at and say, hey, you know what? Thank you, bench player. That was a really good game by you. You can make an argument for Cohen Carr, but it's certainly not what we have expected from this bench the entire season. All that, plus John Tonji going nuclear the entire game, and yet MSU loses by 3 points on a neutral court. I mean, I not to go full spin zone and say, hey, you should be happy that they lost. Like, no, guys, like, we've been critiqued for being way too negative about Michigan State sports and way too positive about Michigan State sports. You might think this might be a little too positive, but the fact that it took all of that, bad games by 2 high production players, Akins and Holloman, the bench not playing great, and someone else going nuclear, and you still only lost by 3, I almost think it's not that bad. All right, at the end of it, Michigan State, they go into March in their last 9 games, 8-1, all against quad 1 teams. Like, and your only loss was that game against Wisconsin. Not too shabby, guys. That's outstanding. Michigan State, I think, is in a good position right here. And what else has you feeling confident right now? I mean, Carson Cooper has been playing as solid as he ever has. Just to, box score drop right here, 8 points, 10 rebounds against Wisconsin. Loved what we saw from Jeremy Fears in these 2 games. This was the number 1 thing that we named for things that we want to see going into the Big Ten tournament, whether it was 1, 2, 3 games. Ended up being 2, and we said we got to see him be more assertive, more consistent, something that we didn't see at the end of the regular season. We wanted to see him be early January Jeremy Fears. Okay, have some confidence. Let's go, baby. You are a starting point guard. You are a good player. Just trust yourself. I think he played really well the last 2 games. Jace looks comfortable as ever, even as a true freshman, knowing that he has to be the alpha dog in the room. I think that he took over as well as he could have in those last 2 games. And then, guys, the shooting overall, specifically from three-point land, been horrible all season. But there's a trend happening, and I got to find some wood here. In the last 7 games, Michigan State shooting 36%. Is it elite? No. Is it above average? Damn right it is. Like, that's what this team was missing all year. Just some slightly above average shooting from three-point land. So, guys, I'm feeling fine. Like, I'm feeling good. Could this come all bite us? Yeah, absolutely. It's March Madness. Anything can happen, any possession of any game. But all in all, look, Michigan State's the 2 seed. They're rolling pretty hot into this tournament, and I got to drop a tweet here. Now, this came from Jerry. Sent this to Sheehan_sports on Twitter. He did mention this. What happened after the last time we beat Oregon by double digits and then lost a close game to a team in red? It's right there. It's proof. It's science. Like, you can't argue it. MSU won 8 straight games. So win the next 6 and then your first 2 next year. All right, guys, we will be back all week. Like, it is going to be nonstop coverage of this tournament. Until then, though, guys, take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go green. And happy birthday to my wife. Love you, sweetie.